Hi, I'm Darlene Washington, and this is Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Here we are continuing our conversation with Pastor Chet Johnson of New Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church in Gary, Indiana. Pastor?
Hi, good to see you again.
Of course. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into it. I have another issue with some things that are going on out here in the world. So I see that we're capitalizing on domestic violence in the media now because they're just putting every report they can out on this poor NFL guy. And actually, I don't know how much sympathy I have for him. That's exactly what this whole discussion is about. But anyways, we are reading the minds of American people to speculate that they would associate the condoning of domestic violence with a song sung by Rihanna, who was domestically abused by Chris Brown during a crisis within the NFL with the player Ray Rice, who has currently committed domestic abuse. The end result punished the abused by pulling the song "Run This Town." Do you agree with this action from the NFL? And let me just say, Rihanna is the abused person in this particular situation that we're referencing, because she had her song "Run This Town," and she had, I don't know if she was supposed to perform it, but anyway, it got pulled from the whole production. And so she's like, how dare you do this to me? So now it's like they're punishing her, even though all she did was, be harmed. And so not to cast any shadows on this particular gentleman, Ray Rice, but Chris Brown is the champion of this particular topic at the moment, and he has suffered and endured and become a wise man, and he actually sent out some advice to Mr. Rice. But so we appreciate his growth, and hopefully we can get Ray Rice there. But in the meantime, what do you think about the NFL's decision to just pull her work like that?
Well, I think the NFL made a business decision like any other business decision, and they make that business decision based on what's going to be the net effect on their how they are perceived, or even sometimes on the bottom line. Whether it was the right thing to do and what was their rationale behind it, we can only guess. Maybe they saw this as a football game, entertainment, and maybe they thought the song addressed too much of an issue that was current to where it would no longer be entertainment, but it would be citing or allowing one person to express their personal. I really don't know why the NFL made the decision to disallow Rihanna from singing the song, and whether it was intended to show her or take sides with her having been abused, and so it's hard to say.
Right.
But when you look at the whole matter of abuse, I'm totally not in favor of a man abusing a woman, particularly a husband or wife. I have a son-in-law, and I instructed them, do not hit my daughter. That's what I do not hit her.
Respectable.
Respect.
From any father's point.
But then I also told my daughters, give them no reason to hit you. I said they can do it for no reason, but don't give them a reason. So the responsibility falls on both. There should not be any provoking to the degree that will cause that type of physical encounter, again, particularly between a husband and a wife. I did have a chance to see the video of what took place in the elevator, and you can see some aggression as well as some defensive posturing on both sides, but the outcome did not look good. The outcome actually was not good. And as men, we have to understand we have an advantage. I'm not going to say it's an unfair advantage. It's an advantage by design. And as husbands, our responsibility is to provide and protect our wives, and we can't protect them by by hitting them on any form of matter. We have to learn how, even if the wife gets upset, out of control, and pursue, we have to learn how to take a defensive position and to remove ourselves from the conflict so that it does not turn out into something like that. And I think that's what the other entertainer that you spoke of came to realize that he had some issues dealing with anger. Chris Brown had some issues dealing with anger, and he had to come to realize that as a result of this, and he put in place the things needed to make those corrections on his part.
He in fact did.
And that's admirable on his part. He recognized he had a problem, and he addressed the problem. And hopefully, Mr. Rice will recognize that if he has a problem with aggression, and athletes have aggression by nature, and sometimes we dismiss it, and sometimes we release it, is a better word, in situations that may not be appropriate. And so I doubt if it's an everyday thing that he does probably, but this situation he might have felt provoked, does not justify the way in which he responded, but sometimes an instinctive reaction takes place and we realize we made a mistake. And I believe he realized that he made a mistake. If he had to do it over again, he would not do it. And it's a lesson that all of us should learn from, that we have to control our anger. If I had done it to my wife, it would not be as televised because I'm not a celebrity as he is, and so that means celebrities have to take even more precaution and keep themselves in checks and balances, because their life is not a closed door experience. It's very visible, and it's not personal. In a sense, it's exposed to persons to look into their personal lives. And that's the consequences of fame and stardom.
That's true, that's true. But I guess my view, and I'm agreeing with what you're saying, the only thing I think I have a concern with is the interpretation of provoking your husband or boyfriend or whomever into an aggressive reaction is very interpersonal. So a person who has an unreasonable amount of aggression and no self-control would attack unnecessarily. So we don't know the circumstances of the entire situation, but that's the Ray Rice thing that is going to be out there in the media and get cleared up, hopefully eventually in a very positive way.
And what took place in the elevator is not what provoked the outcome. No doubt there's a lot, probably some other things that led up to that. But again, both parties have a responsibility in marriage to avoid those types of conflicts. I can't think of anything that my wife would do that will cause me to use that type of aggression toward her. So you have to have that made up in your mind.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you know, it's all about interpersonal and the way you handle things. So you can't just automatically feel like just because someone said something you didn't like or did something you didn't like that it's now time to physically abuse them.
And because of your status, you're not above the law.
Of course. And then poor Rihanna was like, what the heck does that have to do with me? So that's what she was so upset about. How are you going to just, associate their mess with me?
And maybe the NFL may have been wondering whether the choice of song had anything to do with what had actually taken place. So maybe they wanted to remove that sense.
So you're feeling like it was totally not anything personal. It was completely a business decision,
and
which I agree.
I no doubt it was a business decision.
Everyone knows that, but I think people aren't connecting to the business interpretation
of it,
and which I'm not all the way seeing it myself, but I mean, whatever.
And because we've taken sides, people have taken sides. And there's always surround sound to everyone's story, and it gives light to what each person is saying. So I kind of try to look at things, sort through all the surround sound, and try to find out what's the central truth of what's being conveyed, and try to evaluate it based on that. Having been in the business environment, I know that there's things done and persons become sacrifices for business causes. And that might have been the case with her.
I think that's what happened. So she was a little perturbed about that, but I mean, life goes on.
It goes.
So sorry, Rihanna, but the next thing I noticed was there's Utah has this new thing where they're giving out homes to the homeless.
Right.
I'm like, what? Okay, so what, should we go and get in line for this? But anyways, so here's the question. Utah claims it costs less to house the homeless, and it looks like they're proving that.
Yeah.
And it's quite impressive. So what did you think about that?
I was really impressed. It's definitely taking a different approach. Getting them ready while in the place you're getting them ready for.
Right.
It makes sense. It's definitely different from the approach that's been taken. Prepare them first and then put them in. But what happens sometimes, I think people get discouraged.
Right.
They feel maybe it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's taking too long. And if you put them where they want to be, now obligate them to conducting themselves the way they need to be in order to keep it. So basically you give it to them, now earn it.
Right.
Earn keeping it, not earn getting it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the approach that they've taken. And if data is saying that it's being effective, then maybe it's a model that ought to be adopted in other communities.
And
I was impressed.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
By the result.
I was impressed too. And then, I mean, a little bit of sarcasm there. I'm like, so should we get in line?
Right.
But the point is, it's like, wow, it's like there's a whole lot of faith put into this situation.
It is.
So it's like we're going to have faith in these individuals that they will want to keep their home.
That's right.
And so they will behave accordingly. It's amazing what that little bit of faith did.
That's right. That's right.
For the homeless.
Right, and faith is very powerful. You give them something to hope for. And hope is that anticipated expectation. Not hope to receive it, but hope within themselves that they will be able to keep it.
Right.
So now you obligate them, and that's the whole key. There are people out there that all they need to do is be in position to show that they really can. Because we never know what circumstances cause a person to become homeless. And at any point in time, any one of us could end up homeless. And most people are just one paycheck away
from being
homeless. So my hat goes off to this particular program. And I think Utah has really set a standard to be modeled.
Yeah, I want to see that in Illinois. Come on with it, Illinois and Indiana.
Yes.
Come on with it, people. Okay, well that does it for this session of Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.